Hello and welcome to The Silver Lining, the weekly geekly talk show where we discuss any number of topics that may have come up during this week or kind of last week, since a couple of our topics are a little older, but we didn't get a chance to talk about them last week, but I still think that they're pretty interesting, so I do want to talk about them. I am your host, Uncle Silver, aka Silver Greg, aka Greg, whatever you are comfortable calling me, and welcome to you, my co-host, The Chat. Always a fantastic time having you here, talking things with you, getting your point of view. We have a special guest today, so there's going to be an extra host, but we will get to that in a little bit. Hero Hyrule, what's going on? Doom Guy finally gets into Smash. Yeah, I don't know about that, Rami. But hello. How is everybody doing? Hopefully everybody had a decent week. It's been I don't know if it's been a slow week. I feel like everything's just sort of been kind of cruising along. I don't know how much of there is a delay. Good King Linky hears there's a special guest. I can't wait to see who that is. Lady Foxheart, it's the Awesome Super Omega Greg show. Hey, I'm the Alpha and the Omega. But no sin. Yeah, hopefully everybody had a decent week. You got to play some fun games. I know that a few interesting games came out. Wolfenstein Youngblood came out, which is not really my cup of tea. More of my cup of tea is Fire Emblem Three Houses.
Your ideas are intriguing to me, and I wish to subscribe to your newsletter.
Still something that I didn't pick up. Torchy-chan, thank you so much for the follow. Very much appreciated. Fire Emblem Three Houses came out. It's funny, I actually went to Walmart because I heard this thing. I saw this thing on Spawnwave mentioned it, and then I saw a lot of people confirming it, that Walmart has been selling games for like $10 cheaper. And sure enough, I went today and they had Fire Emblem Three Houses for $49.64 or something, some weird number. And yeah, all of their games are super cheap, but they don't advertise them that way. So that's very, very interesting. So I almost picked it up, but I have some other things that I needed to take care of, so I didn't focus on that today. Hopefully, if and when I am ever ready to pick one up, it'll still be Good King Linky, thank you so much for the invitation to the host club. So hopefully it'll still be $50 when I can. What I'm curious about is Best Buy. I like Best Buy better because Best Buy I get like the points and stuff, and then I get discounts later on. When I spend $9,200, I get a $5 off coupon, which is nice. But they also price match. So I'm curious if I can go to Best Buy and have them price match Walmart's price. Even though Walmart, I don't know if it's on the website at that price. So I'm kind of interested to see. When in doubt, Walmart. Yeah, Walmart does carry games cheaper. Bloodstained was $32.98, which I wish I knew because I bought Bloodstained on the Switch for $40. Walmart probably wants to get an extra sales, but yeah, I guess Dragoon Knight, that's hey Prez, we used to call that poking the bear. When you don't want to get into a situation where they have these discounts, and that's great, you have these discounts and nobody knows about them, but what you don't want to do is poke the bear. You don't want to get into a situation where now everybody knows and everybody does it, and now you can't compete with them. Some people drop it for even less, or just the fact that everybody's dropping it. Like I said, I get Best Buy points. So if I could get it for the same price at Best Buy, I'm going to get it there. So the advantage to Walmart is that if it's like a secret that you get them for cheaper. So it's worth it for me to go there, even though I really don't like Walmart. Take a photo of the Walmart price and bring it to Best Buy. I wish. I read that as extra smile. Yeah. They you get extra smiles when you go to Walmart. And but for the purposes of this conversation, smiles means dollars. But yeah, I almost picked it up, and I'm like, yeah, let me wait because I have some other things to take care of. I have the form. I'm either going to go tomorrow or I'm probably going to go next week. I'm going to get my passport. I want to get my passports because I've been talking about feeling like I think I'm ready to get on an airplane. For those of you who don't know, I am terrified of flying, but I feel like I'm ready to try. The last time I tried was a very long time ago, and I had a massive panic attack in the airport, and I had to leave. Mechadom, what's going on? And hello to everybody, Rocky Bear, Brandon, Rami, anybody who I did not say hello to. But I had a massive panic attack in the airport, and I had to leave. And this was 15, 16 years ago, if not more than that. But I feel like I'm comfortable enough. I feel like I'm ready enough to try getting on a plane, but I need my passport in order to do that. So this is the most important step, is for me to go and get my passport. And I've got everything filled out that I need to fill out. I've got the money ready for I think the post office. The post office definitely does it. I went there and checked. So it's like $160 with all your photos and stuff. So I'm ready to try it. I just don't know if, and I don't know when I'm going to have the money to actually take a trip somewhere. I think what I want to do is take a short trip somewhere. So I want to find somewhere. I was looking at Boston, just for like 2 days. You know what I mean? Like leave Saturday morning, come back Sunday evening or something. Just to sort of get my feet wet. Which, if I'm flying on a plane, I sincerely hope that nothing happens and I get my feet wet. But I want to do something, but even that's like expensive, and I think it's because it's Boston. So I need to fly somewhere. I need to fly somewhere close, but then like dirt cheap. You know what I mean? Like I need to fly to Scranton. It's always nice to have a passport in case you have a chance to go on a trip. Hero, I can honestly tell you, at 41 years old, I have never in my life had the situation of, hey, drop of a hat, you want to go on a plane somewhere? Like, I've never had that happen before, so I don't know that that's going to happen anytime soon. But if it does, I need my passport. It's a cool piece of ID to have. Yeah, Beth has one. And when she got hers, I remember thinking like, oh, this is actually kind of cool. It seems so. It's so movie. Like, you know what I mean? Like, it's so fancy movie. Like, oh, I've got my passport ready. And, you know, like, I'm going to, in the olden days, because I don't know if you need a passport all the time now. In the olden days, you only needed a passport for international travel. And I know at some point they were talking about changing it so you would need your passport no matter where you go, no matter what, in the U.S. anyway, no matter what kind of flight you take, you would need your passport to come in and out of the U.S. or inside the U.S. Oh, intercontinental, interstate. I don't know. So I want to at least have it to be ready to go. And then I know that passports are 10 years, so I can get it now. I don't need to worry about like I'm gonna get it and I gotta take a flight in a year. They last for like 10 years, so I want to do that. I don't need a passport. They might not let me back in the country, so I'm not leaving it to check. Rocky Bear, if I thought for a second I could leave the country and make it work somewhere else, I just might. I don't know. If you tell me that I can make it work in the UK, I might. Even though the UK, they don't believe in air conditioning, so I don't know. If you're not traveling in country, I went to Boston from Florida and didn't need one. Just an ID. Okay, so yeah. All right, so you don't need one. Hey, Lollipop, DB Stewart, E0, what's going on? Sir Pigathy, what is happening? All right, so yeah, so you don't need it to fly within the U.S. yet. I know that at one point they were talking about needing it to fly to Puerto Rico, which I have only ever been to Puerto Rico as a kid, but is relatively relevant to me. And but I don't think that they activated that yet. Considering I look like a terrible person, my past portfolio, I don't think. Rami, look at me. The only thing throwing me off is the hair now, because it didn't used to look like this. I wish we in the UK would get AC. We bloody need this in the heat wave. Yeah, I just don't understand why you don't. And I saw somebody commented on Twitter today about AC, like, oh, well, why would we pay a few $100s for something we need once a month, 1 month out of the year? It's like, yeah, but it's a nice month. You have Chinese letter tattoo. I have two of them. Heaven or sky, depending on how you translate it, and either earth or land, however you translate that. These are my hand stamps to move between the two worlds. Is what I used to say. I mean, for all I know, they really mean soup and salad, but I figure that's also a very important choice. So it's a good thing to have. Hit soup and more soup. Yeah, sky and land. Hey, Cyan Fox. A lot of European countries don't have AC from what I see. Yeah, it's so weird that, I don't know. It's worth it for me to have it for that 1 month out of the year. The one thing I did see was that their windows are typically not built for window AC units, which is what I'm familiar with. But I know that they do sell standing AC units that you hook up to a small window. My mother-in-law has one. It's like a little portable, like a unit that moves around on wheels, and then you stick it in the window. It's got a thing for the window. Britain's territory is usually a cooler climate, so their buildings are insulated for heat. As a result, they just simply don't need air conditioning. I don't know. I would have to see, because I get into a lot of situations where people say, oh, well, it wasn't too bad. You don't need AC. It's just a fan. And I'm sitting there like, no, look at me. I need an air conditioner built into my clothes. Power Rangers board game just shipped. How much does it hurt to get tattoos? Fox, it kind of hurts, but you kind of get addicted to it at the same time. It's really, really weird. It's a really weird, that's probably a whole conversation, but it is very strange that it does hurt, especially the longer you go. That's why the real big tattoos take multiple sessions, but you kind of want more. Once you get them, you want more of them. Those countries are also surrounded by large bodies of water, so they DB, that's what would save me. If I would be able to be near the water, I would be totally fine. I need to be connected to water in some way. So if I'm near the ocean or something, I'm totally fine. Being dead center inland would probably drive me crazy. I need to be near beaches. I need to be within a couple. I know people that live, mid United States, and they're a long flight away from beaches. It's like, that doesn't work for me. I need to be at a beach. I need to be able to go to the beach. I was watching the SUV original Resident Evil playthrough. It was like, wow, how far we've come. Ocean breeze, sea breeze, cool air coming down the mountain, lakes and rivers. I can deal with it. Plan on getting a Triforce with the Courage filled in the black. Oh, yeah. Oh, I like that, Sally. I like that. I may have to do that. I haven't been on a plane since I was 3, so I have no idea how I would react. Yeah, I think I'm ready to see how I would react on one, because the last time I tried, I had a panic attack before I even got on the plane. So that sort of messed me up. No, you go from cooler climate to a heat wave in 1 year. That's like a culture shock. The building code and standards in Britain require them to be well situated against cold environments. So, but they're situated against cold environments. But does that mean that they get hotter in the summer? That's what I'm curious about. Lurking in chat here because I'm playing a game on my laptop. No problem, Cassidy. How you doing? It also depends on where you get the tattoo. Yeah. Why does French Wi-Fi sucks? I don't know. If I ever go, I'll let you know. I'll do a speed test and I'll let you know. I'll go with Matt. Matt can help me get better internet service while we're over in France. All right, I actually want to get into the first topic today, and the reason I want to get into the first topic is A, because I think it's an interesting topic, and B, we have a special guest for the topic. So our first topic is GameStop is talking about doing these renovations. I have the article up here, so we're going to talk about some of the specific things. But I have a special guest here, and let me fingers crossed that this works and we're not doubling up audio or anything like that. But I am here with Linky. Hello, Linky. Are you there? Are you there, Linky? Is Linky there? Is Linky not there? Linky's not. I don't think Linky's there. Linky is muted. We're supposed to be talking to Linky, but Linky seems to be muted or is just not talking. I don't know. I think Linky might have been afraid. Hits Linky. Long live the king. Yeah, show yourself, Linky. No, I can't. I imagine the structure of the building would make things hotter. It's like making a coat for cold weather, but wearing the coat during the... Yeah, Aqua, that's what I imagine. So I imagine that the summer times are disastrous. Yeah, I don't... Why is this... Did I do something to mute it? I don't know. Linky, are you there? Linky? Are you there?
Oh, sorry.
There we go. Oh my God, it's Linky. Ground control.
I legit just thought I had enough time to go use the bathroom, grab a drink.
Ground control to special guest. Welcome, Linky. Linky has some interesting. I hope better has some interesting insights into what is going on. Welcome, Linky, to the Silver Lining. My second guest. Ryan has been on before, so I guess that counts.
I thought I would be the first.
But well, you are my first official, actually like advertised guest. I don't remember what we were talking about, but we had a conversation going, and then me and Ryan were going back and forth in the chat. So he just popped in the Discord.
I gotcha.
Yeah. So the thing that's going on with first of all, Linky, tell them about yourself and tell them why you are especially suited for this conversation.
Yes. Well, hello everybody. To those who don't know me, I am actually the Good King Linky from the Some Cubby Johnny streams, as well as my own current streams on Good King Linky, twitch.tv / Good King Linky. But I'm actually here today as a GameStop representative, because since I do work there and I do have some insights of the new changes that are coming to the store coming pretty soon. Yeah. Like I said, some of it I don't know all of it in detail, because that is basically the district leaders like program right there. That he's basically doing it for our stores, other stores, and other stores. By the way, I do not speak for GameStop. I am just an employee that works there. Anything I say can't be misinterpreted, and I may be wrong about information. Just take it with a grain of salt.
So you heard it here, folks. He speaks for GameStop. All right, so so what's going on is that GameStop has decided that they are going to try and stay relevant again by altering a lot of their stores. What they want to do is they want to alter their foothold in foothold. I never know what that word is. In gaming community. How did they put it here? A place in video. They want to earn a place in video gaming culture, which I think they already have, but that's probably a later point to be made. The way they want to do this is that they want to revamp some of their stores physically, and they want to change what is in there. Now, we saw this once before when they bought Think Geek, and they turned their stores into toy stores.
And yes, a 50-50 store.
Yeah, they're sort of 50-50, if you can even call it that, because it's more like 70-30 depending on which store you go to.
To kind of clarify that in particular, certain stores are declared 50-50 stores, while other stores actually
real edgy.
We're going down.
Dropping the 5.
Get the subs.
Dropping the 5 gift bombs. Thank you so much for that. Real edgy. Always good to see you. Have you here. And you know the gift bombs don't hurt.
Yeah.
If you let me I have a button for that. Wait, I think I have a button for that. Mute alerts. Let's see if that actually works. I don't know if that actually works or not. If you have just been given a gift sub, be sure to thank Real Edgy for that. Sorry, continue.
Yeah. But to kind of clarify about 50-50 stores and other stores that are like that, certain select stores are considered 50-50 stores, which basically means, hey, we basically have collectibles and the other half are pretty much games. But that's basically what that means. I was just filling in for that one.
Yeah,
but what we were saying.
Which is very... That's a whole nother thing. It's really not a whole nother thing, but I'm sure we'll loop back around to it.
I gotcha.
But we saw this before when they bought ThinkGeek and they started doing all of this stuff. And now what they want to do is they want to try and do it again. And they're going to try and let me see if I have the short list here, which is you'll have new ways to try game. I'm reading this from the Engadget article, just to be clear.
Yeah, the one you posted to me earlier.
You'll have new ways to try games before buying them. Shops that cater solely to retro games and hardware, and even esports competitions with homegrown leagues.
Oh,
this is this is a sweeping sort of thing that seems smart. It seems intelligent. It seems like these are good ideas. The first problem that I have with all of this is that this is spread very thin. If you have to have stores that do these things individually, because you cannot have one store that has systems set up for people to play, to test games, that has retro stuff and modern stuff, and holds eShop competitions and sells modern games and still sells toys. You can't have one store that does all of these things. So the only way that this could theoretically work is that you create retro. You take some of the existing stores and you turn them into retro only stores. You take some of the larger stores and you use them for esports competitions, because where I live, we have one GameStop that I'm pretty sure was actually 2 storefronts. They knocked down the wall and turned it into one big thing with 2 separate entrances. And then we have some GameStops that are very small, that are, they were always just a GameStop. Just one GameStop.
I gotcha. So basically the small, medium, and large stores.
Yeah, this is not going to work if you are trying to squeeze all of this into one thing. So you're going to have to pick and choose. Do
you mind if I interrupt you real quick? Because I could actually say for a fact that not every GameStop store will actually going to be having this transformation.
Yeah, DB Stewart says they did have all that in one store. It was called Toys R Us.
But no. So I'm going off of memory right now, but only select stores are going to be having this sort of change coming to them. Basically, each section basically has its own like area leader, section leader, store leader, etc., etc. You know how the ladder keeps going.
Yeah.
And each section of these areas are going to have one of these kinds of stores. That's going to have pretty much all in one of them. I remember that our store is actually second place to becoming a store like this one because we're already hitting prestige, basically having good results with customers, doing a lot of good sales and all that sort of thing.
Okay.
And we're basically doing well in our area right now.
Okay.
However, I don't know for sure right now because I'll go into work tonight and I'll check the numbers for the month.
Now I'm curious because I have 2 questions I would ask. Is there, and this is not, if you can't answer this or if you don't know the answer, just let me know. Is there a structure set up for what kind of stores? Because this one big store that I have near me would work great as an esports place. Somewhere that has a lot of room to set up a lot of screens and stuff. Is there some sort of designation between smaller stores are going to be retro stores, large stores are going to be eShop stores or esports stores? Is there any sort of way at this point to discern what your neighborhood store is going to be?
As for right now, I don't have any information on that one because, like I said, we only got like certain photos of what these stores are going to be looking like.
Oh, so there is pictures.
These are actually mock-up photos.
Okay,
like, they're not like the real things.
Okay, so Dr. Juice says they should rebrand it as Kitty City. I love Kitty City. I was Kitty City over Toys R Us. I grew up we had them near each other, but I loved Kitty City before I loved Toys R Us. That was where I got my first Nintendo games.
I wish I had a Toys R Us near me, but all I had was a Walmart.
Oh God.
Until they built GameStop about 25 years ago or something like that.
So it's like that's like, I want to have a Longhorn Steakhouse near us, but we got a hot dog stand. It's kind of the same.
Pretty much. Going back to what I was saying, we do have these mock-up images of how these stores are going to be looking like, and so far they really do change the stores around a little bit, though they all cater to large stores only.
Okay. So there's nothing set up specifically. Now, let me ask you: the pictures that you have seen, are they of the 3 different versions of stores, or have you only seen esports stores? We'll call them.
Oh man, I believe there's only one set made right now.
Okay.
I do know that there are talks and plans about the other stores.
Okay. I mean,
but
the other stores.
That's all I've been hearing. Like, I'm just my ears to the ground. I've been hearing from the higher ups, because since we got the new CEO, he's been handling a lot of different changes around the stores. Which, to be fair, they've been pretty better than the last dude.
All right. Do you think that they'll keep all the toys and stuff? Do you think that they're going to, okay, do you think they're definitely going to keep all the toys?
Yeah, because not going by number wise, but we sell a lot of toys. Like, you may think like a game store like GameStop doesn't sell a lot of
GameStop sells a lot of stores. It's the store. It's like the garage sale where I bought garage.
But in all fact and reality, we actually sell plenty of toys, accessories, and all that stuff, as much as games.
That's so amazing. I mean, I guess, is it little kids? Is it kids that come in and they they want to buy the game, and then, oh my god, there's a Mario plush? Is that what it is?
Yeah, basically, as a GameStop employee, basically my job is to help the customer out. While basically saying, hey, you like Mario? We got these Mario plushies. We want to check them out too. Yeah, and these kids like to eat them up. Yeah, and to be fair, I'm not trying to be like, when I work at GameStop, I'm not that like, all right, hey man, you want to buy a car? All right, let me get a blah 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 blah. I'm basically saying, hey, you like Pokemon? Hey, I got some Pokemon plushies here. You want to play with them a little bit? And they get into it, and I love it.
You sound like you're at the store with a trench coat, and you're opening up your trench coat to show people. Yeah, hey kid, hey, you want some Pokemon?
Like, to be fair, I try not to be that kind of person, but I'm always trying my best to be as friendly as possible to both kids, adults, and all that.
I worked at a video game store for like 6 years, and you try and, it's retail. You're going to try and get sales. It's what I call retail sales. You're going to try and get sales, and you have to be, because a lot of the time when people talk about retail, they talk about like working at stores, at stuff like Target. Yeah. And that's different because you're not haggling prices. You're not trying to make sales for the most part. When you work at something like a video game store, I call it retail sales, because it is a sales department. You're trying to haggle with them. You're trying to upsell. You're trying to add all of these different things, and at the same time you want them to be informed. So when you say, one of the big things when I was younger, when I used to work, was did you actually get? I did not get commissions. One of the things that when I worked at a game store was, I want to buy this PlayStation. Oh, well, do you need this RF switch? Because this is the days when a lot of people still had TVs that didn't have composite cables. And that
takes me back.
Yeah. And they would think that I was trying to upsell them. They're, trying to get them to buy the whole store. And it's like, no. I'm trying to make sure that I don't want you to get home and try and play this, and then you realize that your TV doesn't have what you need. So, sometimes it comes across that way where you feel like, I feel like I'm shilling for my company, which you kind of are. But you also at the same time, are trying to make
have fun with it.
Yeah, you're trying to make them informed, and at the same time, you want to have a good time. You want to create a positive person that you want to come back into the store with a positive attitude. Mm-hmm. Because if you sell them crap, or you oversell them things that they don't need, they're going to come back and they're going to be pissed off, and that's going to ruin your day. For the 8 seconds that they're there.
Yeah, and that's pretty much why I always tell people to do the surveys, because I do listen to all their feedbacks and all that stuff. And to be fair, it takes 1 minute to do it, 2 questions long.
Yeah.
Really easy to do, plus a chance to win a $100 gift card. And plus, actually, the reason I like to give out these little surveys is because our store is basically now a prestige store, basically letting people know that, hey, we cater to the customers, and they really do love us. That's why we're a prestige-only store. That's how I got this little badge right here on my GameStop uniform, which I'm very proud of. Yes, I got a badge.
Fancy stores. Oh, 10% more. You got to pay the prestige tax for shopping at the fancy store. All right. Well, let me ask you. My other big question that I had for this was, out of these three things, which of these do you think would make the most difference? The esports, the retro style, or what's the other one? Or having things set up to try games before you buy them. If they had to choose one of these things to add to current stores without changing anything else, what do you think would be the most effective? Hold on. Real Edgy is Real Edgy. Okay, I see what's happening there. Real Edgy's internet is acting up.
All right, we take care, man. But probably the biggest one that I know that will have the most effect, excuse me, is we'll be basically having demos available for people to play and try them out. Because most of the time, I don't know everything about all these games. Like, I've had many customers come up to me and said, hey, what's this game about? I'm always just looking on the back and be like, all right, I'll just tell you the name of the game and tell you what it's all about, and I'll show them the kids. Mm-hmm. Now, there are some games that we don't actually have the cases for because kids, they don't know how to take care of the cases.
No, of course not. Of course not. It's always sort of agitated me that GameStop even took games. When I worked at a video game store, we didn't take games without cases for disc-based games. We typically didn't, unless they were in amazing condition, we typically didn't take games without cases. So that was always sort of odd to me that GameStop would take them without the case. And that's just because I just grew up doing it differently. When I worked at a game store, we just did it differently. Like Nintendo and Super Nintendo games, we didn't care.
Yeah. Well, to be fair, most of the games that I do take in, they've already got like messed up cases that are like torn beyond repair and all that stuff. Those are the game cases that we can take about. On the rare occasions, we do take the game without we take the game disc without the game covers and all that stuff.
Okay.
That's only on the rare cases. And even if we do take them in, we're mainly defecting them because at the same time, it's all scratched up to ruin, and there's nothing we can do about it. But at least we can go ahead and try to give you some kind of feedback or try to give you some kind of like money back from all this stuff.
$1, $2, it keeps them in the store.
That is true.
That's what we used to do. We used to give like $1 for sports games. We knew we weren't going to sell them, but you got store credit. You had to spend it here.
What's this? I bought this back in 2007. It's basically one of the best Madden games out there. Oh no, this is worth $80 right now. I'm like, it's $2.
Believe, I don't doubt for a second that you are familiar with it, but we all have those stories. The one that I remember the most was this guy came in with I want to say it was the Hive for PlayStation 1, and we were going to give him... No, it wasn't the Hive. It was something else. The Hive was a completely different story. And he tries to give us the game, tries to trade it in. So we tell him, it's going to be $3 in credit. He honestly says, but I paid $50 for this 3 years ago. Like, yeah, it was... like, that was 3 years ago, and the game sucks. We have it on the shelf for $8. You'd be lucky I'm giving you $3. Like, it just, we all have those stories when you work at game stores, but yeah, those are
man, I can talk forever about all the stories that I've been through about that.
It's unfortunate. All right,
but going back to the conversation we had, I do believe that demo kiosks are actually going to be probably a bigger thing that basically brightens the horizon up for people to try out these games, as well as new games, old games, and all that sort of thing.
Okay.
However, I feel like it's basically a tie between the retro games as well, because still to this day, people are still buying retro games, either through our website, through other stores, and through other places, which is also a big thing because right now the GameStop in my Lexington area is the one that basically has like the highest grossing number of people who purchase stuff up there. They sell classic and retro games there as well. Okay. So they basically do new and retro games up there.
All right. Now, do you think that those things can coexist equally?
Yes.
Yes. That's always been a weird sort of we're at a point where retro games are disconnected enough from modern games. You know, when I worked back in the old days, retro games were barely retro. So now we're at a point where there's such a large span of time separating the two. I wonder if they can coexist and create a still functional store. I mean, obviously they coexist as in they're not going to explode. It's not matter and antimatter.
Yeah.
You put them in the same room, it's fine.
All right, here, one antimatter.
Yeah. You know, but I'm curious if as a modern store, will you be able to develop enough of a retro reputation? And as a retro store, can you develop enough of a modern reputation? I think the fact that it's GameStop helps that.
Yeah.
But I'm curious if they could each have enough of those things to function as one store.
I say yes, indefinitely, because like I said, there's already GameStops out there that are already doing this. And they seem to be doing so much better than what other stores are doing right now.
Right.
Because they basically have the old retro stuff that people want to come to. They have the new stuff that kids want to try out. That and plus, you still got to think about it. Do you remember the SNES, the NES, the PlayStation Classics, all those other ones that kind of like retro type of games are basically remade? We still today get a lot of orders for that sort of devices, even though they are discontinued. But we still basically sell plenty of SNES, NES consoles from back in the day as well. Even we still do warranties on that sort of thing. Like I said, it is still a current thing that retro games are still a part of, because you can look on the internet, you can be like, oh, I don't know all these websites. But for old people and people who are younger who wants to get into these games, as well as older games that we've played, they want to find a place where it's easy for us to do and easy for them to order the games for them.
Yeah,
like we order them online, have shipped directly to the house right away.
Yeah, we had a conversation. We talked before about whether or not gaming needs GameStop, and I firmly said yes, because what gaming needs is a storefront. Gaming needs a public face that, if you don't want to drop into obscurity, you need a public face. You need a place where when the moms and the dads and the older kids and everybody, when they're at the mall, doing whatever you do at the mall nowadays, they need to see it. It needs to be present in their lives in order for it to stay relevant. So they definitely need a storefront. And yeah, a lot of people, you go online, you don't think about it. But when you're somewhere and you see it, you see a GameStop, you walk into a GameStop and you see Super Nintendo games and you see the system, you think, oh man, I remember having one of these. I would love to get one back. And now here it is. You're literally one step away from getting it. Whereas online, you've got to search for it. You don't know if it works. It's a whole big thing.
Yeah. And don't forget about the most important thing about every GameStop. Hi, welcome to GameStop. How can I help you?
Yeah, like it's that short. That was the shortest thing. You'd still be talking if it was the real GameStop.
Okay. You want to know how I do it?
Hi, thank you for calling GameStop, where you can pre-order 19 games, 18 of which don't even have solid release dates. My name is Jeff. Help me.
It's not like that.
No, I know. It's
always, if anything, I love it when parents like to come into GameStop and like said, "Hey, aren't you going to talk to me?" I'm like, "No, you need help with anything?
You need help with anything? No? Hey, how's it going? You guys need help with something? No, I'm good. Do you have this game in stock? All right, you just blew it.
Exactly.
I just asked you if you need help, and you said no. Everything after that, I stopped listening. Now,
it's like,
we're going to try again.
100% sure.
Do you?
All right, I'm going to go back up the counter. Wait, do you have this game? Mother!
Yeah. It's oh god, I don't miss it.
To be fair, I love it because me and my coworker, we basically have a game like every time we go into work. We basically said, all right, let's see how many times people actually need our help. The numbers get into like the 50s and 90s.
Now, I have another question. I honestly don't expect an answer for this, and just say I can't answer it. If you, I'm going to assume that you cannot answer that.
All right.
You've been with GameStop how long?
2 years.
2 years. You have seen a large chunk of the most dramatic decline. You have seen from the inside. You have seen what has happened.
Mm-hmm.
Is any of this going to save it? In your opinion, if you can answer, if you are comfortable giving your opinion, do you think there is any saving GameStop in its present form? Which I can explain that in a second, but as a modern game store, as the presence that it possesses now, do you think any of these things can save it?
Like with just customers who are just like mad about it?
With customers, with reputation, with the business itself. Do you think any of these measures, if there is anything, do you think any of these are can help turn the image of the company around? Let me put it this way. The stocks have been declining for the last couple of years. Do you think any of these are going to bump the stocks back up to anything near like it used to be?
Honestly, I can't tell you.
Okay. I wasn't sure if that's something that you might have any insights on. I know that's a pretty big question.
No, but in all truthfulness, I think GameStop is a good company to work for. They treat me well. Like as a crew or a GA right now, I don't get that many hours. Most hours I get a week is probably about 7 to 10 or 4 to 10 hours a week.
Oh, man.
That's why I usually have multiple jobs, like from working at GameStop and working at Little Caesars.
Yeah.
However, the benefits are nice.
Okay.
Be able to check out any game I want, do all that sort of thing.
Oh yeah, because they've got all these other
that's
plans.
not why I'm usually working there, because I'm just there to help people out.
Yeah.
Because as a gamer, this is the quote unquote dream job that a lot of people like to strive for, and trying to get this job is like finding a needle in a haystack. So count your blessings as they are.
I know that some of the things that they talked about before. I worked at a small chain in the East Coast called Game Gallery. And we had a lot of this stuff that they're talking about now. We used to have TV set up where people can try the games out. We actually had a TV right by the counter so that if people had a specific problem or they wanted to try out something specifically, and we knew that they were a legit customer and not just people asking to play games, we would be able to show them certain games, assuming we had a used one that was open. We wouldn't open like a new copy for them.
That is true.
The store that I worked at, we also had rentals. You could rent out. We had specific rental games, and then you could also rent out any used games. And then that was it was $1.50 a night. We it was a whole thing. We ran your credit card, and we could charge you if you never brought the game back. Like, it was a whole big thing. And then I know that they were talking about that with GameStop before, some months back actually. They were talking about working in a rental program. Are you familiar with that?
Yes, I am.
Did they ever implement any sort of rental situation?
No.
That's never going to happen?
I personally do not think that's going to happen, especially with the amount of people that we have in my current area right now, because
Okay. I figured it would work with what we did at Game Gallery was we had a rental copy for a game. And then when we got new games in, we would create a rental copy, and then people could rent that game out. If they wanted to buy the game, they were allowed to come in within 3 days. I think rentals were up to 7 days before we started to call you. You could for up to 3 days, you could come back in with the game and say, "Hey, I want to actually buy the game." We would then sell you the game for the new price minus the 3 days worth of rental. So that was your opportunity to try the game out and then buy it. If you didn't want it, you just brought it back. Same thing with used games. You could rent the rental games that we made of the new games and any used game, and then it was the same deal. If you came back in with the game within 3 days and said you wanted to buy it, we would sell you the game, subtract the rental price off of it.
I gotcha.
Yeah,
I don't know if that could work in today's standards right now, because where technology has kind of grown and more people has the ability to, like, let's say, copy the game disc. You can just see like a lot of people be like, "Hey, I'm going to borrow this game for a day, borrow this game for a day, borrow this game for a day, borrow this game for a day."
Yeah. We knew of a few people that specifically that's what they did. The bulk of our customers were not doing that though. And especially when you talk about back then, we're talking about copying PlayStation 1 games, which was a challenge. I know it took a bunch of stuff in order to be able to do that. Dreamcast games, by the time Dreamcast rolled around, the internet was enough of a thing that people were just downloading the ISOs in and burning discs, and that's really what killed the Dreamcast.
That is pretty much it.
Yeah, but we didn't have a whole lot of, there were probably, when I think about it off the top of my head, 3 customers that we knew were doing it, and we honestly just didn't care. Like, all right, they're still paying the rental fee, and they were not. And the funny thing is, they were not super consistent with it. They would rent out the game, Because you could rent out up to 3 games at a time, and then they wouldn't bring them back for 4 days because it took them time to do it. It took them time to rip them and make sure that everything was fine. So we would still end up getting $10 per game from these people, and then they were still our game to sell. They were going back on the shelf to sell. So
I can kind of see your
funny.
point.
It worked. Believe it or not, it actually really, really worked. As long as we stayed on it, as long as we called people when the games were late, as long as we charged their credit cards when they were delinquent with them, like it worked out okay.
Yeah, I don't know. I would have to see it in practice before we put it into play.
Yeah,
like that sort of deal. Because, like I said, I don't know anything about kids today. Because they all are hyped up on Fortnite, drinking their Mountain Dews and Monsters.
Yeah, with their Monster Energy drinks. Well,
what?
You know what? Though,
no. It's just I just had a flashback a couple days ago where I took a first drink of a Monster because I don't drink Monster Energy drinks or any drinks in general. I took one drink of that, and the next thing you know, I was just like crashing into my bed in the following hour.
I don't. Yeah, that doesn't work for me.
It doesn't work, but it just makes me sleepy.
All right, now one more question that I had, and this is to clear up something that I mentioned earlier, which is, do you think any of this stuff is going to work with GameStop in its present state? The reason I specify it that way is because I had a thought about something, and the statement of a place in video gaming culture, which they already have. It's a notorious one. It's an infamous one, but they already have their place in gaming culture. Yeah. If they wanted to create a positive place in gaming culture, what do you think about the idea of completely overhauling their main purpose? Because all of these things maintain them as a video game retailer. Mm-hmm. What would you think about the idea of them switching that completely?
Switching in how?
Half arcade. Have something where, yes, you still sell video games. Maybe you still sell some toys for some reason. But for the larger locations, multiple arcade machines.
Kind of like an arcade cabinet, basically. It's built in with multiple.
What you do is the point of that would be that GameStop is the video game store. They're the place where you go to buy video games. All of these things still maintain that. They're being a retro store, being a place where you can test games out. They all maintain, those two things maintain it as a video game retailer. Turning them into esports locations actually turns them into something else. Do you think that might actually maintain the GameStop name, but make them more known for something else? Have arcades, because we don't really have arcades anymore.
You know what?
All systems set up to play, and
I've never thought about having arcades like in our stores, but it did reminded me of something that we did sold during the holiday season. The arcade 1-up cabinets that we used to sell.
Oh, yeah.
Yeah. We actually got a large number of those arcade systems sold during that holiday season. And this was back during the old CEO, who basically wanted to sell more cabinets in our stores. But ever since he got left and I won't go into detail.
AR Mega Man, this is we're talking to Good King Linky right now. Good King Linky is an employee at GameStop, so he has some insights on this topic. And Dr. Juice says if GameStop became a barcade where you can also buy games, they would immediately get a lot of my money. I don't know about a barcade. I don't know if I want.
All right, Jimmy, go out there and have fun with your arcade. Daddy's going to need a drink.
Yeah, you know what's funny though? It's barcade is a bit strong because they have all the arcades and stuff. I actually don't like barcades for one specific reason, but the idea of a half arcade, half game store where they try and specialize in the kinds of arcade games that they sell. If you've got a bunch of arcade games that are fighting games lined up, and then you can go and buy the fighting games right there. it's
Or
almost
the
like
latest one out
advertising.
there.
You know, you talk about turning these into esports locations. Why not hold fighting game tournaments on actual arcade machines, but they can also buy the games for the home systems. Have a bunch of those arcade 1-up machines set up, and then hey, guess what? We also sell these machines right here.
But if you don't want to get the arcade machine, we can give you the arcade sticks.
Yeah, you know,
that's actually really smart.
You know,
for
you
both,
sell a lot of these accessories. You know, you turn them into, and this is like I said, this kind of goes into the idea of changing what GameStop is, because now they would be less known for, hey, that's the store where I go buy video games, and more, this is the tournament place. We go here for tournaments. We go here for arcade gaming parts. You know, it's. Do you think that that's something that they could end up trying on down the line, is to just completely turn stores from video game selling stores to something else entirely?
You know what? That's actually a really great idea. If anything, can I borrow this idea and talk to my regional manager about this?
You go right ahead. I like I said, the GameStop that I have near me is very large, and when they were talking about doing all of this thing, my first thought was, whoa, if you got arcade machines in here, you turn GameStop back into a destination. You know, rather than I pick up video games on my way home. You know what I mean? I stop at the game store. The GameStop is not a destination for me. It's a stop on the way home, which I guess works with the name. It's not called Game Stay. But that's what you would end up with. You would end up with a store that is a destination. People wake up and they think, oh man, I get to go to GameStop today. I get to hang out with my friends and play arcades. And while I'm there, maybe I'll pick up a game. I wonder if that. I mean, I don't have a business degree. I'm a student of the Internet School of Business. So,
good.
You know, the reason I say that, I always had this idea. I always wanted to do a video game cafe, where I've got every table's got a console set up with a little screen, and then you can hang out and play games. I've got an arcade section. I've got an area for tabletop, and then I've got food, either an actual cafe or a vending machine cafe. If you've ever seen in Japan, they've got like the vending machine locations where it's just a whole bunch of vending machines. You know, have something like that where you've got it's a destination. It's something for people, because gamers, we don't really have a destination. You know, if you want to get drunk and go watch if you watch the local sporting match, you've got a dozen places to do it. There's a bar in every corner.
Yeah, I'm about to say there. My GameStop is actually right next to a chicken wings place.
Sling Stream, thank you so much for the follow. Sorry. No, I got to work on. I got to do push to talk so you can start hearing it.
It's fine. But yeah, that can really come into effect if you really think about it, because most GameStops are right near food restaurants and all that sort of thing. Like, I know my GameStop is right next to a Chicken Wings, next to a Burger King, next to Rizzoli's, and a bunch of other places. Yeah. Mostly next to a gym, which I like to go to every now and then.
Yeah, our GameStop is down the street from a gym. Where I go to. So I say down the street, but it's like 10 minutes down. Later, Cyan Fox, have a good one. Every vending machine at the gaming cafe is just Dew and Doritos.
You know what? It will sell.
Sir Pigothy says, I can see it kind of working. The GameStop near me is next to a mall that has a round one bowling and arcade place. I can see round one destroying that GameStop with no effort. Yeah, see, that's the only thing. You would have to pick and choose where you do this.
It's basically one of those, hey, district leader has to make some choices. Do you want this store to be a 50-50 store, or you want this store to be an arcade store? You want this store to become a Daves and Busters? Then go ahead.
Yeah. And I think the idea is, like you say, 50-50 store. I think the idea is keeping the 50 GameStop, and then the other 50 changes between stores. Exactly. You know, it's... You've got some of them are modern games and retro. Some of them are modern games and an arcade, modern games and consoles set up. Because I've been to some game stores that have just a bunch of TVs and tables and stuff, and that's actually really fun. You know, they can cycle out the games as they go, depending on what they're doing. And if you want to run a tournament scene, it's a lot easier to do it with that setup. I like that idea. I think that's a cool idea.
Hey, if anything, I'm actually gonna this Saturday my district leader be here because Lord knows that. So right now, the whole entire district is kind of disarray because someone left the store, so they're looking for a store leader in the area right now, and they're going to be picking up one of my friends from over there. So I'm like, okay, time for me to get ahead, but also time for him to say goodbye. Yeah. So every time we lose someone at GameStop, like higher up, it's basically kind of like a domino effect where the next person from another store will take that position while we're basically trying to fill out our own position.
I think they call it the power vacuum.
Yeah.
I think that's what they call it. But yeah, it's just the idea of turning GameStop into a destination just seems more effective. And I feel like they already have the name. You know,
they just need more of an identity.
Yeah, if I start a place called Silvers and I do all of that, no one's going to know what the hell it is. People are going to say, hey, there's this place that kind of sells video games and they kind of have arcade machines.
Do you buy jewelry?
Yeah, exactly. I'm going to get tons of that. No, only gold. Whereas if you do this at GameStop, people know GameStop. People know where GameStop is. So when somebody says, oh, the GameStop over on, I don't know, Baltic Avenue, they've got the arcade machines now. And you can say, oh, let's go check it out. And then, you know what I mean? You go there and then that's it. And then, yeah, if you're talking about a place that is near, like you said, you have a Little Caesars. I think somebody else actually mentioned that they have a Little Caesars near their store, near their GameStop. If you've got something like that, it can turn into something that people go to, not that they pass through. And I feel like that's what GameStop is now. You go to pick up your games and you leave. Yeah. And
it'd be a very interesting change if they would probably get together and think about that sort of thing. Because right now they're just kind of hopping back onto the feet, especially after the CEO just like, oh, I'm bye.
Yeah, I feel like they're kind of struggling. It's unfortunate. It's unfortunate because I don't like, a lot of people joke about, oh, GameStop needs to go away or whatever. I don't like the idea of a bunch of people losing their jobs.
Same.
I especially don't like the idea of a bunch of people losing their jobs for corporate decisions that they have no control over. It's one thing to go to these places and find out that the employees are all terrible. Yes, I wish they'd lose their jobs. Or I wish they'd get replaced. What I don't want to hear is like you said, you've got a cool store. There's a lot of fun employees. They like to, I have a couple places near me that I go in and the employees are very positive. I don't like the idea of them losing their jobs because some corporate bigwig decided to make some dumb decisions that they had no control over.
That is true.
My one last question before we wrap this topic up.
Okay.
What do you think about the idea of franchising out GameStops?
The franchising out?
Giving people the ability to open their own GameStops run by their own rules. I know. I don't know if anybody remembers the name Quiznos. I'm sure everybody remembers those.
Nope.
They were like a sub sandwich shop. I don't know how widespread they were. They had a big thing where that was what they did. They would franchise out the stores, and basically you were allowed to open up a store with the Quiznos name. But they had a whole training thing where they would train you for all the stuff that you would need, and it was basically just your responsibility to open up the store. When they ran promotions, they wanted you to go along with the promotions, but it wasn't always necessary. But like I said, you got to use their name. What do you think about the idea of franchising out GameStop so that individual, I could open up a retro store with the name GameStop on it, and I could call it GameStop Retro. Hallmarks. If you're familiar with Hallmarks, most people have a Hallmark near them, and it's always Hallmark something. It's always, Hallmark Southwest or Hallmark, we have like a Janine's Hallmark or something like that. And my understanding is that they are sort of franchised out. So they have to follow most corporate decisions, but the store can be run the way they want it to. So the idea of opening up GameStop, I could open up GameStop Retro, and my GameStop has the GameStop logo, offers a lot of the sales that they may offer, but I specialize in retro stuff.
I mean, it could be either way, depending on how good or bad, depending on how well of a boss you are. Not saying you're a bad boss, no, mind
No.
you.
I know what you mean.
Yeah. But it all depends on the people themselves that are running the store and how they're maintaining and basically keeping things. Also, hydrate bot. I'm thirsty.
Yeah, hydrate bot. Hydrate bot, everybody. I need a button for hydrate bot. I don't have a button for hydrate bot.
I got the button. It's called taking a sip.
Yeah. That was.
I'm sorry. But like I said, I can see it working positive and negative because I'm always the type of guy who kind of sees a glass half full than anything else. But at the same time, I also like to take the cautious side of things and kind of say, but what if this happens? What if this happens? Because that's the reason why we basically have like regional managers, regular managers, store leaders, assistant store leaders, managers, and all that sort of thing to kind of keep everything in line. Because even if one place goes out of business, or even if like one place is like missing an employee, they can be like, all right, we're just going to take someone else from another county and bring them over and kind of help them out.
Okay, yeah. I guess
because we like to keep
like
we may be a big business, but we do like to watch over other GameStops in our general area to kind of take care of them. Now, if like let's say that you did make another store of your own, like said, all right, GameStop just basically lets me to do this sort of thing, and you have people kind of running your store, and something bad happens to your store, that's basically asking everybody around you to kind of come by and help you, even though that we have our own things to do as well.
Okay. Yeah, I can think that. All right, that is the GameStop. The GameStop thugs have finally gotten to him. They have used this call on Discord to track his location, and they are currently silencing him.
Nope. A piece of hair just flew in my mouth.
Are you okay there? All right.
Yeah, I'm fine.
All right. So that is going to do it for that topic. So I want to thank Linky for joining me for this topic. Very, very excellent insights. I'm glad to have somebody that is a little bit more involved to discuss this stuff. So Linky, if you could tell them, plug yourself here.
You got an outlet?
Yeah. Yeah, stick a fork in it.
Okay.
I don't have an electricity button.
All right, but to kind of give kind of myself a shout out real quick, I'm actually Good King Linky from the Some Call Me Johnny streams every Monday and Wednesday night. I join in for all sorts of lewd actions. That's why I basically keep this chat busy while also try to keep them from being boring from all this stuff with different topics that we have to talk about. But also on the side part, I do have my own Twitch channel, twitch.tv/GoodKingLinky. I'll go ahead and put a link to that.
Yeah, you go ahead and link that in the chat there.
And right now, I just finished Bloodstained, which, Greg, I got to talk to you about. It's actually really good.
It's excellent. What system did you play it
on? Okay, so originally I was actually playing the game on PC, or on PS4. But the game that I got from GameStop, because this is still relevant, it was a blank disc. Okay. It was a blank disc I got from GameStop, and I was like, "This is empty." And my boss looked at it like, "Oh, and that was our only copy that we had left in the store. So unfortunately, I had to switch to PC to play the game.
Is it possible that the game is on there, but it was just too stained with blood?
No, it is empty.
Oh, good lord!
It still had the white centered filled in.
Oh wow!
Yes, I was laughing when I saw this.
All right, but I'm going to let you go now. Thank you for joining me for the topic. It was very, very interesting and much more interesting.
Thank you again, Greg, for having me on. Thank you guys for listening to me, even though I work at GameStop. But yeah, do the surveys. Enjoy yourself. Y'all have a nice day.
Thank you, Linky. Okay, we're still on. All right. Later, Greg. Cassidy, I guess you're leaving. I apologize. I'm sorry. I'm sorry that you're headed out. Yeah, that was Linky, everybody. Thank you for that. Thank you for joining for the GameStop discussion. Linky works at GameStop, so he has some fantastic insights. But for right now, we are going to push a button. Where the hell are my buttons? Oh, there we go. Yeah.